NXT is back on the road. That's right. Vengeance Day 2023 going to be taking place in the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Are we going to have takeover vibes? We've certainly got 6 matches that are definitely worth talking about in this stream. 5 championship matches. We've got a fatal 4-way, a triple threat match, a steel cage, and a 2 out of 3 falls. So lots to get into. A very special guest as well. But first off, let's show you the matches we will be discussing. So let's not waste any time getting our special guest here on the show. Well, he's someone that loves a bit of chatter. He likes to check your temperature. Sometimes he likes to figure out if a topic is hot or cold. Sometimes he makes you choose this or that. It's one another than Bama Dave. Bama Chatter Wrestling Podcast in the house. Dave, how are you doing?
Doing great, Steve. And don't forget, sometimes I just might make your top 10 list more meaningful to you. I'm excited to be here, man. When you messaged me and said you want to talk NXT, heck yeah, let's talk some NXT.
I like it. And what are your thoughts of NXT being back on the road? Obviously, Charlotte, North Carolina. Do you get those takeover vibes?
Absolutely. When they came out to Dallas for WrestleMania and did the big takeover stand and deliver there, I was like, okay, this is NXT. This is what we missed, having the 15, 16, 20,000 seat arenas cheering on these superstars. And hopefully now we can get the vibes of seeing, them do what they do on a big scale. Yes, they always push us to the limit, but there's something about having the spectacle of that bigger arena, the camera shots, and the roar of more of 10, 15 times the fans they normally have. So they're gonna go all out, break out all the stops. And so this is going to be the best. I think personally, this is going to be even better than Stand and Deliver personally.
Joe, I have a feeling you could be correct. There's some great matches as we just seen there. Obviously, the triple threat with the Women's Championship. I'm looking forward to talking to. It'll be our first match very shortly. We've got a steel cage, 2 out of 3 falls. So much happening in this show. And quickly, just to go into the chat, Robbie Collins in the house here says, first time I'm able to watch an NXT live show since Halloween Havoc. I'm so excited. Yeah. I've got to say I am as well. Richard Robes, of course, very big Zoe Stark fan. Hoping, I guess, that she'll be the special guest
referee. That makes 2 of us.
Yeah. Hey, we're definitely a big fan of Zoe Stark. Did a great performance in the Rumble. Will she be at this show? Hopefully in some capacity. Maybe she'll do a backstage cameo, Richard. We hope for you. But what match are you most looking forward to on this show?
That's tough. Looking over here at the card again, I'm really excited about actually the Women's Championship match. I'm really excited about it because I think there's going to be a lot of storytelling ingrained in this one. But also, I'm very curious if they feel Grayson Waller is ready. I'm really curious if they feel he's ready to carry the banner of NXT so Bron Breakker can maybe take a couple of months off, get some rest and relaxation before he hits the main roster around WrestleMania season.
Absolutely. That's definitely a couple of big questions there, like you say. Obviously, Grayson Waller, heck of a talent. He's easy to hate. I think that certainly goes without saying. He's got that natural arrogance as a heel. He could be a very good NXT champion at some point, but will it be at Vengeance Day? Quickly, though, before we start, Noob and Co, thank you for checking out the stream as well. Says hello.
What's up, Noob?
Thank you, Noob, for checking in. But another match you said you were really looking forward to is the match we are going to kick things off with. So let's dive straight in. The NXT Women's Championship match, Roxanne Perez defending against Jacy, Jayne and Gigi Dolin, Toxic Attraction. And the story about this one has been fascinating. Obviously, it goes without saying, Mandy Rose, of course, the 3rd longest NXT Women's Champion of all time. She is away from the company, of course, losing to Roxanne Perez after Roxanne won a deadline. Of course, when the Iron Survivor Challenge match she won at the time to get opportunity. We've had to sort of dust off Gigi and Jacy, find the direction they were going to go in. They were sort of lost in the tag team division. Their focus was to, I guess, without saying it out loud, to win the title back for Toxic Attraction and kind of do it for Mandy in their own way. They were in a battle royal, 20 women involved. I believe that was at New Year's Evil. They were the last 2 standing. I'm not really a big fan of the idea that both of them were eliminated and they kind of just went, you're both winners. But it was very Lex Luger, Bret Hart from 1994 in the Rumble. It provides that triple threat match element that we've got. Since then, we've seen kind of the tease of the breakup between Jacy Jayne and Gigi Dolin. They've had some altercations on the microphone. Of course, that was a bit of a ruse at the time to sort of put Roxanne through a table. And this past week on NXT, they had the backstage altercation. It was 1-on-2, kind of how we were sort of talking now with a split screen going on.
Yeah.
And of course, Jacy Jayne just wouldn't really let Roxy get a word in at all, really. Neither would Gigi. Roxanne kind of went off, left it. And I guess the real question here is going to be really, I think, focusing on Toxic Attraction going into this match, because obviously Jacy and Gigi, they were fighting at the end of that Battle Royal. They both were eliminated at the same time. They are saying it's the same pace. They are saying it's going to be a handicap match. But the rules are triple threat. What happens when Roxanne is laid out on the mat? It comes to that 1, 2, 3. Is there going to be friction? Are we seeing the breakup of Toxic Attraction here?
I 100% believe we are. There's been innuendo from both girls as to who they feel carried that tag team the 2 times they were NXT Tag Team Champions. So without Mandy to hold them grounded, because of course, while the 3 of them were together, neither of them are going to try to go after Mandy Rose's championship. So now that it's all about the 2 of them, only one of them can be champion. And so I think personally within this match, we are going to see the official breakdown between the 2. The great thing about tag teams is because they've been on the road together so much, they train together, they work out together, they're practically sisters, which means when they break down in this match, we are about to see a true personal with a lot of content rivalry. And I am looking forward to see Gigi and Jacy. They could probably extend this rivalry through the summer. It could culminate all the way to Halloween Havoc, maybe in a pick your poison, spin the wheel, make a deal, culminating blow-off match. They could easily get 6 to 7 months out of this, the same way Triple H and Shawn Michaels went for daggum 2 years. So, you do the math there. If there's animosity and there's personal there of who, and what I love about this, Steve, and the best rivalries of all time, in my opinion, Triple H and Shawn being a great example, Kane and Undertaker, Stone Cold and The Rock, they can take the title and put it over to the side and go, even if this wasn't about the title, we've got to settle who's better. And I think that's what's great about this rivalry is Gigi and Jacy can go best of 7 over the course of 7 months and see at the end of it who is the true last woman standing of Toxic Attraction.
Yeah, you make some really good points there. Like you say, sometimes those are the best knit rivalries. So you can forget the DIY split up, of course. Back in NXT Chicago, I think, a few years ago, and that led to, well, like you said, it went on for years and years with those 2. The thing that I have a little bit reservation of is obviously women's tag teams. There's not enough of them. So I don't like the idea really of the breakup, but obviously, it goes without saying, both have a lot of potential. I think Jacy has shown that she's definitely improving in the ring. She's actually really good on the mic as well.
Yes.
Gigi, there seems to be an it factor. I think she has something about her that's always stood out. She kind of reminds me a bit of like a Soraya Page type character, someone that could be like that anti-diva kind of vibe that we've seen before previously in the women's divisions of WWE. And I think that she has a potential certainly to go quite far.
Agreed.
But do you feel that with this, that it's right to go to that rivalry direction? Or do you think that really we are missing in that women's tag team division again?
I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a wedge between them because they both won't let the other one win. They will. It might be a little bit like the end of the Undisputed Era, where Adam will try to coexist, but then at the end of the day, he's like, "No, without me on top, this doesn't make sense anymore. The Undisputed Era is nothing without me." So I feel that the best thing to happen here is they both try to go for the pin at some point in this match. The other one will pull them off or break up the pin. They'll give each other that look of, "I want to be champion." "No, I want to be champion," and all that's going to be all that's needed for Roxanne to hit a quick move, throw one of them out of the ring, pop rocks the other one, and if I had to venture, I would probably say Gigi's probably a little bit easier to take the pin in this one. I don't think the fans will. She usually takes the pin when they're in tag team matches, so I have a feeling that Gigi definitely has an it factor, very similar to her ex Darby Allin. She has a very interesting cult following of people that just naturally want to get behind her. And so that's why I'm interested to see when these 2 finally do get on the mic and go against each other. So to answer your question, I think they will maybe try to tag again versus the new tag team champions in the women's division, or if Casey and Katana retain. But I don't know, man. I think after the first or second attempt to tag again, they're going to be like, we can't coexist. So
I think you're on the money with a lot of this, and I do actually kind of agree with you how I think the direction is going to go. I think Gigi would portray the babyface. I think Jacy would do the heel. I think they've kind of they've suggested that already, I feel, with the narrative we've seen on NXT. And I suppose comes the why. Why with the Toxic Attraction breakup? I guess with Mandy going, I think that name's always going to be linked with Mandy Rose. If that's linked with that, the content that has been put out there, which WWE doesn't want that linked to, I guess perhaps that's the way they feel it's best then to break this group up and move them on. And potentially both could be future women's champions. We'll have to wait and see. But let's move on quickly and let's talk about Roxanne Perez, the champion who's not even been really spoken about in our dialect so far. Roxanne Perez, first off, what an incredible performer. I've enjoyed her work since before joining NXT. She was Ring of Honor Women's Champion not so long ago. Great match with Diana Praza last year. But also, what really stood out to me was her performance in the Royal Rumble. Now, I granted she was only there for about 5 or 6 minutes, but my God, this girl, she did not look out of place. And for me, she is going to be a mainstay for years to come in WWE. She seems to be better than half of the roster already.
No, I 100% agree. She's been wrestling since she was 16 years old. And she's 20 and she's 21. So she's already got more experience than most of the women that NXT locker room have had since coming to the Performance Center. And so she's ready to make an impact. She's come up and been on the main roster in some tag team action, I think twice now. So the main roster is aware of her, and she has made waves now, especially being a part of the Royal Rumble. So I think it's a matter of time. I would love to see her get somewhat of an extended title run, but I think if they're not attempting to see if they can pull the trigger on her by SummerSlam, don't wait too long, because she's a hot commodity that has that natural underdog mentality, and you do not want the fans to sour on her being around too long. You want to push her, and even if she loses the title, then put her in a really good blood feud. I feel like Cora Jade and her ended way too soon. It's like they poured gas on it, it burned up in 5 minutes, and then there was nothing left. They should have slow burned that and let that go, maybe even to the new year. But having said all of that, if they want to revisit Cora and Roxanne, maybe eventually Cora is the reason Roxanne loses her title to someone, and then that personal rivalry can kick back up again. Okay, but don't wait too long on her, because Roxanne is ready to go up and be another Daniel Bryan, that undersized underdog babyface that you cannot help but cheer for her.
I completely agree, 100% there. Obviously, strike where the iron is hot. Obviously, time is on her side. Roxanne Perez, like you say, only 21 years old. But like you say, sometimes with baby faces, fans can sour after a time. I always prefer as well a babyface chasing a championship than holding it for a long term. So you mentioned Cora Jade. I think it'd be amazing if they could do that, actually, perhaps maybe even a stand and deliver. I think they could revisit that there. It would be a perfect place, WrestleMania weekend, that personal rivalry. There's no better person to go for the championship, unless Richard has his way in the comments with Zoe Stark, I'm sure. But that would be a great alternative.
That would be a great alternative.
It would indeed. But let's go prediction time. Bama, I mean, you are the guest, so I'm going to let you kick things off. Roxanne Perez, Jacy Jayne, Gigi Dolin. Who is walking away as champion?
This one is going to have false finish after false finish. They are going to make you guess until the last minute. But right in the final 30 seconds, when Gigi and Jacy are finally at the point where they have to take out each other, one of them will hit a big move. Roxanne will capitalize, like I said, probably throw one of them out of the ring, hit Pop Rocks on the other one. Roxanne retains here, and then we'll see what happens with Toxic Attraction.
Interesting stuff indeed there. No, I think more or less can agree with this to a certain degree here. I mean, Roxanne Perez yet to retain. It's her first real defense here, isn't it? I mean, obviously she's not defended. No, she hasn't defended the championship yet. Not one of them. It is the first. So yeah, I think she retains here, moves on to stand and deliver. And I think Jacy Jayne, Gigi Dolin, that's the singles program you have there. That's your women's section sort of done for the show there. And this, for me, like you said, this is building blocks to where it's going to be going forward. It's exciting stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. And we got some comments that have come flying in here.
Awesome.
We're going to start off. We'll start off with we've got 4 comments here, so I'm going to work my way up because I can't work out where to go. So let's go where we've been and work our way back to the beginning. So Nobenko says, I believe that Jacy will be pinned in the match because we see a sympathetic face. Interesting that perhaps Jacy could be seen as a babyface of the two.
Maybe, but I agree with you. I think Gigi's got a more natural following. Fans will be more upset to see her get pinned, which will again garner more support for her. So I think Gigi takes the pin.
Absolutely, indeed. There, Richard's given a spoiler. I don't think this is quite a spoiler, but I think it's more of a prediction from Richard. Cora
Ooh.
Jade or Alba Fyre Isla Dawn is the attacker of Nikkita Lyons. Of course, Nikkita sadly injured. She's going to be on the shelf for quite a while, and obviously we have to work out who would be the person that would have done it. Obviously, when she's back, the NXT roster could look very different at that point, anyway. But do you reckon there's some good shouts of who could have taken out Nikkita?
It's always going to be the person that you middle suspect, all you Office fans. So I think that everybody's expecting Zoe Stark. It wasn't her. I think Zoe may have distracted her to let the attack happen. Cora Jade is not a bad shout. Why would Cora and Nikkita have any issues? So that's not a bad shout. I like Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn. Now that it seems that out with Toxic Attraction, in with this Celtic duo. So maybe this is a new tag team that Sean wants to see if these two could form as a tag team and maybe replace the leaving heels of Toxic Attraction if they do break up. So, but I have a feeling this could be somebody that people don't see coming. I would not be shocked at all if Wendy Chu makes a heel turn here.
Oh, wow. I like that idea. Yeah, can you imagine? Put the pillow aside, honestly. We'd actually need some pillow talk if it was her, actually. We'd need to know what we need the tea, as the kids say.
I'm probably dead wrong, but I'm just going to throw it out there.
I like the idea of Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn as well. Obviously, I'm surprised that she's not throwing Zoe Stark out there. She seems like the most obvious target, but maybe it's too obvious.
It's too obvious.
It is too obvious. And I'm sure whoever did it didn't do it for The Rock. Yeah, we're going to have to mention it every time, aren't we? Nope. I'm not sure what this was referring to earlier on, but not to mention the whole Lay Cool breakup storyline in 2011. That slips my mind, but obviously linking here with Toxic Attraction's breakup, obviously.
They're saying what if they double pinned and they took the belt and broke it in half and they each wore half of it. And, you know, I think the fans, I think that's one of the key markers that the fans hate about the Divas era was it was way too gimmicked and way too focused on being catty and being that way. These girls can tell true stories. These girls can make us care about them as people, not care about the only person in NXT that I want to have that attitude is Tiffany Stratton because that's her character. So everybody else, no, let them be real people with real issues.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Tiffany Stratton, she's got a very bright future as well. Mentioned that,
yes.
But apologies, Noob, that it slipped my mind there. I don't know if I've mentally blocked it out or if it was just a case of the fact that I'd forgotten it. But one thing's for sure, Lakewood, they were fun back in the day, but like I say we've moved on from that Divas era now. A couple of Richard's troll comments very quickly. Thank you, Richard, for them. Isla Dawn disguised as Jacy Jayne. Like I said, there will be one or two of them in there throughout the stream. And also, Katana chance to align with Zoe Stark. Everyone is always aligned with Zoe Stark for Richard, but we do bless him for it. Tino's time. Thank you, Tino.
What's up, Tino?
Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thank you for checking in the stream. We've got Eric as well. It says hello to Tino as well. And we'll say hello to Eric as well. Hope you're doing well. Nubico as well. So I'm going with Roxanne Perez winning because Toxic Attraction. But the question is, who in NXT will get called up and face Damage Control on the main roster? I mean, that's a fascinating question. I mean, who would be called up who would be the next NXT called up in general for you? Obviously, the idea of the fact that Bron Breakker could be called up in, which we mentioned earlier on the stream, potentially in the near future. Obviously, that would suggest Cora Jade potentially could be as well because of the fact they are a real life couple. They don't like to keep the couple separate. Could Cora Jade be someone that you could see going against Damage Control?
I would hate to see her get called up before having a chance to taste some gold, but there have been NXT stars that are undeniable and they just have that it factor and you don't want to keep them down there too long. So Cora Jade, I believe, has that. The first time I noticed that about her with the it factor is the War Games match she was in last year. When she did that dive off the top rope and the entire place exploded, I'm like, they wouldn't do that for just a spot. There's something about this girl. So I think that's a good possibility. I think personally, she's already had a tag team run. I think they may skip on Zoe. I think Zoe may come up quicker than people think.
Yeah, Zoe, actually, Richard's going to love us talking about this. I think Zoe's got definitely a potential to be caught up, especially now with the Nikkita story, probably going to take a big break now. We don't reckon she's the one that's done it. So certainly could see her going to Raw, SmackDown in the near future. Whether she'd go against Damage Control again, obviously it's heel on heel. Right. So that's possibly not at this time. But someone that could, that's a babyface at the moment, Indy Hartwell, Tino says, needs to ASAP. Obviously, right now with Candice LeRae again, they can go back to that team. And obviously they could go against Damage Control. Would be on the right brand as well.
I agree. I think Indy's long overdue. If Crazy Nikki ever watches this, Steve, you know who she is. She's been pining to get the Way back together on the main roster, minus Austin Theory. She can't stand him, but she wants to see Johnny, Dexter, Indy, and Candice as a foursome on the main roster as the Way. I don't know if Triple H wants to keep the Way moniker, but to see 4 of them back together, working together in some capacity. And Indy is very underratedly good. She's very sound in the ring, and she has size and strength. And so I would love to see her, lock up with a Charlotte Flair or a Raquel Gonzalez but yeah, even somebody like a Bayley or a Becky could work with her very well and get her up to speed very, very quickly. But yeah, for sure. I think Indy, if Indy doesn't come up by WrestleMania weekend, I'll be shocked because she's been down there, 4 years now? It's time. So
yeah, I would agree. It's definitely time. And I'd be interested to see the Way. So, Nikki, if you're watching, I'm on your side as well with that. And I think
I am too.
Austin definitely should be doing his own thing at this point for sure.
100%.
Too Sweet Carl, OTM, and they will be live later on this evening, ladies and gentlemen, as well. So hello to the MVM. Thank you very much. And to Bama as well there. MVM, for those that are wondering, is the most valuable mark, means the person that pretty much annoys them in the chat through most of their streams. That's pretty much what it means. But I appreciate to have that title. Maxwell, J. Freeman, MJF, for those keeping score. The Temple's here, of course, Underground Temple, on my other account where I watch, but I'm still subbed on my main account. It's been a while, guys. Hope you're all well. Thank you very much for joining us.
Doing very well.
Matt.
Thank you.
We are doing very well. Thank you. Let us know your predictions as we go through. And Too Sweet Carl says, this is the way some would say. And some would say that Too Sweet Carl, you are a poet and you may not know it.
I agree.
Let's go on to our second match showing. And so we've covered the first match. Let's go on to the Fatal 4-Way NXT Tag Team Championships. The New Day defending against Gallus, against Pretty Deadly, and against Chase U. Now, to quickly just go through this, obviously the story was Pretty Deadly and the New Day. The New Day won the Tag Team Championships, made Pretty Deadly jump through hoops every single week to try and get a championship opportunity back. They then had to go through a gauntlet match. Not a Guevara gauntlet, but certainly a gauntlet match. Obviously they fell short. Gallus won that gauntlet match. That got them the tag team opportunity. Eventually, Pretty Deadly worked their way to get into a tag team opportunity. And the New Day felt very generous. They thought, we've got 3 teams, let's make it 4. And Chase U won a tag team match, a 3-way tag team match this past week on NXT to get the spot. So for me to sort of try and keep this a bit short, I'm very glad that Gallus is back in the fold. I think that they certainly are a very credible tag team. Could carry the tag team titles in NXT like they did in NXT UK. Chase U, I do think there's a breakup on the horizon. I think Duke Hudson is playing them along. It's quite clear to see. I think the main picture, though, is still New Day and Pretty Deadly. What is your grasp when you look at these 4 teams? What's your take from this?
You have a good reading there. The biggest thing with me in the New Day is, do they need them for WrestleMania? That's the big question. If they need the New Day for WrestleMania, then I can predict they will drop the titles here and New Day will head back to the main roster. However, if they are not going to give us Sami Zayn versus Roman through the process of the Elimination Chamber with Cody Rhodes, which I don't think they're going to do. I think they're going to stay the main course. I'll just say it right now. I think that Jey Uso is going to be torn for the next month or the next 3 weeks. Roman and Jimmy will try to pull him this way. Sammy will try to pull him this way. And at the end of the day, in Montreal, Jey will pull the trigger with his family, and he will stay with them and turn on Sammy. And KO will come out for the save, Usos versus KO and Sammy. So if that's the case, the New Day probably will not be needed because there'll be no tag team titles picture for them to get into. They've already had their stuff with the Viking Raiders. So if that's the case, I think the New Day very likely could actually retain here. And let's just see which tag team almost gets them. But if I have to say they won't retain and who will win, Steve, I'm going to slightly disagree. I would love to see Chase U break up with the belts.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Duke is the X factor at the moment in the background, right? Because he's doing the right things on camera for what we can see. You can see when the back is turned. You know, there is those question marks. He is the jockeying class that sort of, will make sure that he gets the right paper and give the nice gift to Andre Chase. Obviously, he was in the background, sort of posing in Fear's moments of her celebration the other week. So clearly, he is that wild factor. There have been question marks on him, but he didn't actually make this opportunity come about for Andre as well. So, like you say, this could be a culmination of a story which leads them becoming tag team champions. And to be fair, I think it would be nice to see Chase U get more than just a comedy role in NXT, because I actually do think that they are a fun faction and they are a gimmick that knows what they want. I love Thea, by the way. She is exceptional for her age. The character work is second to none. She's up there with some of the best. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I think characters is obviously what a Raw and SmackDown is missing. New Day with their experience. I mean, this is great for all three teams to really just nurture working with the New Day in general. And the thing that I would just say, just to twist this over a little bit, to what you said about the New Day a minute ago, if they're needed for WrestleMania, something that could suggest they might be needed for WrestleMania is the fact that working with more than one team here, the fact that they get to share the ring with so many at one time. At the same time, though, I'm with you with all your predictions. I think they are going to be at Stand and Deliver. So the question is going to be, are they going to be going in as champions, or are they going to try and get a rematch clause to try and win the belts back?
Right. That's the thing I'm trying. The safe pick for me would be Gallus, because then you can reunite Gallus versus Pretty Deadly and watch those two teams go back at it again. The mainstream American audience has not really seen that, so that would be fun to watch that happen. I just think for the storytelling perspective, and can they coexist? I know that's an overdone thing, but in this role, it actually works to see Duke and Andre function as a tag team, as tag team champions. How long before the mistrust just causes them to lose the match and they finally lose the titles, and then we'll see whatever happens within Chase U with Duke. But I just think for maybe that initial 1 to 2 month rub until WrestleMania for the next 60 days, try it out and see what happens, and just see the fun of it. If you need to pull an impromptu tag team title match on an NXT and they drop the belts and you further the story along as part of Chase U, I just think it would be fun to see both sides, comedy and action, of Chase U tag team champions. So my heart's leaning that way, but the safe pick is the New Day.
I tell you what, though, you've almost swayed me. That's how good of an argument. And that's the thing. Bama is very good and persuasive when he needs to be on this stuff. But I can't go with Chase U as much as you've now made me want to. I just want to just throw the sign out there for you there. But Gallus, I think, would be a great option. I just think that they won't be involved in the fall. In my feeling, the story still is the New Day and Pretty Deadly. I think,
and I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with that.
If Pretty Deadly are not involved in this decision, they could almost be like, look, we didn't lose. And perhaps the other team didn't lose, gets to face the New Day. And then it gets to a point where we then finally see Pretty Deadly win the titles at WrestleMania again over the New Day. Sort of the biggest one, the biggest victory of their career at that point. And I do see Pretty Deadly. Tell me if you see this comparison or not. I feel like they are booked as the modern day Edge and Christian.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, they are. Dr. Bob from Back to the Ring, he calls them right now the best tag team on the planet. And it's hard not to put them in that conversation. Now, if you want full-on work rates and in-ring action and being able to do anything with anybody, then FTR is hard to dispute. They're probably the best tag team in the world right now. But in terms of character, and you just want to hate them and you hate to see them win any match, much less lift the microphone to their mouth, Pretty Deadly, they're at the top of their game right now. I am anxiously awaiting to see what Triple H will do with them on the main roster. I'm waiting for them to get a little more, pardon the Edge and Christian, but I'm waiting for them to get a little bit more edgy. I'm waiting for them to actually, take some shortcuts and try to actually end people's careers. See how nasty and evil they can get. That we already know they're full of themselves and they're stuck up and stare in a mirror and all the specials they've done for how much they do their looks can these guys be truly bad guys? In NXT UK, they were. I'm waiting for the American audience to see that.
I'm looking for it because I must admit it was very casual NXT UK in the last sort of couple of years. So I would like to see that side as well. I think that is the side that is missing. But as much as I would like to see them get the win at this point, I think that Maine is the place. And before coming on this stream, I was Pretty Deadly. I'm going with the New Day because I think New Day at WrestleMania, losing those championships there, I think is the biggest impact. So whoever they face at WrestleMania weekend at Stand and Deliver, I think the New Day doing the job there makes most sense. Dolph Ziggler, of course, was a part of that show last year, though he won at Stand and Deliver. A little bit strange, but still is what it is. I think that the New Day will be that sort of main roster influence there this year.
Let me pose you one question and pose a question to everybody watching us right now. What is Duke Hudson's end game with this? What's he trying to do? What is his? There's never been a statement of I'm going to infiltrate. This is what I want. Am I looking for a girl? Am I looking for a chance to get the title picture? The fact that I have no clue what he's thinking and why he's doing this is why I'm so entrenched in this. And that's why I'm waiting to see what the payoff's going to be, because he's up to something and we have no clue what it is.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm already, my brain is trying to do a bit of fantasy booking for you, but unfortunately, I can't really think of something very quick off the top of my head. Obviously, he'd lost his way, maybe in amongst, the teachings of this and learning things from Chase U. Obviously, the studying of Royal Rumbles, the studying of all this stuff. Maybe it's that student of the game type mentality he's looking to gain out of this, but it's very difficult to know. And if anyone in chat has some fantasy booking, I know we've got 1 or 2 fantasy bookers amongst us, feel free to
Absolutely.
get in. Involved. But so final prediction there for you, Bam, before we go to our chat.
Again, my heart leans for Chase U to win the title so we can see the comedy that's going to create, but I'm going to safely pick the New Day to retain, to recreate, like you said, with Pretty Deadly. And unfortunately, Gallus, you got to take the pin.
Oh, Gallus taking the pin there. Interesting. I will say the same, near enough, but I do think that Chase U takes the pin. Unfortunately, I think Duke might just pull the trigger this weekend, which would be very sad.
Good point. I changed my mind. Yep, that's right.
I would hate that to happen, though, so I want your story to happen more, but I think that could be where it happens. But and then we get New Day Gallus as a main event of one of the NXTs, maybe, I don't know, a roadblock or something. I don't know if that's what they did in the middle last year. They usually have something in the middle area of these shows, and then we can have New Day Pretty Deadly at the next show. But New Day will be my pick as well there. So let's go to the comments then. There's quite a few of them flying in. You're very kind too, Sweet Kyle says that never an annoyance. You are the GOAT. Thank you. It's very kind indeed.
Amen.
I'll try and annoy that chat later once again. Max says Alba Fire and Kaylee Ray, aka Kaylee Ray, should be the one to beat Roxanne Perez. Would you go with Cora Jade? So what would be your choice? For me, I would go with Cora Jade personally.
Yeah.
I'm not as into the Alba Fire character. I preferred it as Kaylee Ray personally.
No, I agree. Yeah, Alba Fire had a shot at Mandy. Isla Dawn cost her the chance to be the champion twice. So I think that's what's intriguing to me, is the fact of Isla finally has persuaded her to join her. So like I said, Toxic's out. This new tag team is in. And so we'll see what kind of chemistry they make. They would be very good heaters, by the way, to go after Casey and Katana. So that would be a very interesting rivalry if the two of them want to do that. But no, Steve, I agree with you. The history's there. The personality differences are there. Before Cora Jade goes up, if you want to let her taste gold one time, Cora versus Roxanne is the trigger.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I've got to say, the Alba Fire Isla Dawn does intrigue me as well. The Sisters of Destruction potentially has that vibe. It reminds me of a very Attitude Era kind of style. So, yeah, let's see what they put together with that. Could be very fascinating. Jason McCall says, do you think that all of these teams are there just to protect the New Day from taking the pin? Interesting idea, because, of course, say the New Day don't win and they're not involved in the decision, that could be a good way to get the titles off of them in protection as well. I prefer the New Day to put new talent over, but certainly it's something that can't be ignored.
No, I agree. And I mean, personally, Kofi and Woods don't care. The New Day is Teflon at this point. They could lose the rest of their lives, and the New Day is still arguably the greatest tag team of all time. So, I don't think that anything done to them now at this point could damage them. Arguably, I mean, Bully Ray says this all the time on Busted Open. On any given day, anybody can beat anybody. So that's what you have to keep in mind here. So I personally think, like we both said, we think the New Day will possibly retain here. But if they do lose this match, I don't think they're not going to get pinned because they want to protect them. I think they're not going to get pinned because, like you said, if Andre Chase gets pinned because of something Duke did, that's storytelling.
So, yeah, that would be a good way out of it as well there. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question, Kyle. I think it's hopefully, if New Day do lose, they will do the job. But Richard's saying that you have to see if Alba Fire was behind the Lyons attack. Isla Dawn is in control of this. That's why Fire did it before she aligned with Dawn. Interesting storytelling there. Absolutely. But like a bit of fantasy booking, Richard, definitely. Do more of that. Do more of that. Less of the trolling and more of that, please. Did someone say Andre Chase?
We did.
We did indeed. We are guilty of that as well. Rick in the house as well. Thank you, Rick. He says Katana heel turn joined. Rick, Richard, are you the same person? Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. I'm sorry. No, that ain't happening.
No, not happening, I'm afraid. Maxwell says, still don't get why GYV, aka the Dyad, are not in the 4-way. They're well overdue in NXT Tag Team title run. I have to agree. I loved the GYV as they are. Dyad, Schism's finally getting into a bit of its own. I'm interested in what's going on with that. What are your thoughts with the Dyad? Do you reckon they should have been a part of this match?
It's a very good point if you want to completely go with all new blood. Like I said, the fact that Chase U is in this match is the comedy storytelling of this. Mm-hmm. The fact that they were able to get in over the Dyad. So I think I'm agreeing with you. GYV greater than sign over Dyad any day of the week. I miss GYV. I think that you could say they should have been soon to be recognized as one of the greatest tag teams in the WWE. But it's I feel like and I hate to say this, the Schism is entering into brood mode for me. You better heat them up and do something very bad with them very quickly, or there's going to be there's going to be so much apathy towards them. And I know why they're doing it, because they don't want The Rock's daughter to get a lot of, extra TV time right now, because they don't want it to be all about her. They want it to be about the unit. And so I know that's why the moment she was revealed, everybody went nuts. They got The Rock's daughter. That means The Rock's coming back. And you know what I mean? They got all. So they're like, okay, we got to pull back a little bit here and cool off on them a little bit. Don't wait too long. This is a great faction with a lot of internal stuff you can do with them. I even would love to see maybe if the reason a title change happens on this card could be because of the Schism.
So. Oh, I like it. Definitely. And it builds to another story as well. So like you say, I'm warm on the Schism. I'm warming up to them anyway. A lot more warm than I was before. But Rick says New Day wins. Good prediction there for us there. Going with us there. Maxwell says, give me Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey as a tag team, please. Certainly would fit make a good team. They've been rivaling recently on NXT. Wouldn't be against that idea. And of course, that would also fit the can they coexist idea as well. Jacy McCall says, personally, I think Gallus takes it. I don't really have a good reason why, but yeah, I mean, to be fair,
you may not be wrong, man. You may not be wrong.
Sometimes you don't need a good reason why. You could just be right. And do you know what? Gallus definitely could take it. They're definitely one of the favorites going into this match. Gallus or Chase University are winning, says Newman Coast, and new tag team champions. Jacob B. Peters says New Day wins, and then the lights go out. Paul Ellering on stage, and Big Mask Man attack the New Day. The Authors of Pain return.
Hey, I don't hate that.
I don't hate that either. And you know, I love a bit of fantasy booking. And yeah, I would not be against that. New Day retaining as NXT going back on the road. Makes sense to have them retain, if you get me. Certainly does indeed. MJF. I'm going to say MJF for short there, if you don't mind. Gallus wins, and I wouldn't mind Tyler Bate and Axiom as the new challenger, or Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey as a tag team. So there we go. Another shout for Gulak and Dempsey. And Axiom and Bate obviously had a good match this past week. And Axiom seems kind of familiar to you. Do you remember that guy called A-Kid? Looks familiar.
Yeah, he has a similar accent, similar height. Yeah, I just can't play. I just can't place the face for some reason.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Steve. Would you rather see Drew and Charlie as a tag team, or would you rather see Drew in Charlie's corner as a mentor?
Oh, interesting. Maybe as a mentor, but then I think as a mentor I would go for, rather than the tag team personally. I don't dislike either idea, but I just think, I don't know, I have this feeling, W2K22, when you start off the game and Drew Gulak's doing all his coaching and stuff, take the comedy element out. If you get a serious Gulak when he was with Daniel Bryan and get that behind Charlie Dempsey, I think that could work really, really well. So, that'd be me. What about you?
I agree. I would rather see him in a mentoring role. My only pushback to that is, would you ever want to see Charlie managed by his father?
I mean, of course, but he can't be on WWE for a little while.
I think Regal would outshine him. I think it would take away from him. That's why I think they won't do it.
Maybe not. Especially if he talks to any commentary members like he did Excalibur. Certainly would definitely take away a little bit. But back into the chat anyway. Rick says Toxic wins and Toxic get the call-up. Certainly it's a possibility. We mentioned about call-ups already in this show. I love the Authors of Pain idea. Absolutely.
AOP, yes.
We do indeed. AOP gets gets the YES from us. Pretty deadly on the main roster if they pair them with a heel Tyler Breeze. Interesting idea with that. Certainly camera phones at the ready. I mean, we're not actually going to see Austin Theory do anymore.
No, I was just going to say, the fact that up, down, down is such a big deal. If Tyler Breeze costs Xavier the tag team titles, that would be so funny for a behind the scenes perspective. They wouldn't be able to film each other on TV anymore. That would be hilarious.
We've got Thea Hale might return to a line with a heel to surprise the fans. I don't want Thea as a heel. She's awesome as a face. Don't break my heart, Richard. I'm not having that. I'm not having it. Love the AOP idea. They fit the main roster. They do fit the main roster. Obviously, they are needing tag teams on the main roster. We'll have to wait and see what will happen. Yeah. And didn't think about it. Pretty Deadly do remind me of when Edge and Christian's funny segments. Let me see an Edge of Pretty Deadly. Agreed. Bama coming there for us there. And says a response there to Maxwell and to Sweet Kyle as well. And Richard's got some more fantasy booking in there. I'm going to skip that one, Richard, if you don't mind. I think Chase U has to take the pin here. Unfortunately, does seem like, unfortunately, the way Korniaki, I hope I said that correctly. New Day and Pretty Deadly. Final TLC match next. Now that I'm into.
I'm into that. Yes,
I'm into that as well.
Yes.
Give it to us. Give it to us. Chase and Duke was a tag team on the Indies before NXT. Mostly worked in PWG as Chase brother, formerly known as the Bravado Brothers. There you go. Something I was not aware of.
Okay.
Maxwell, you definitely, he's always very good with the indie scene there.
Those two managed by Drew Gulak? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for giving us the knowledge there. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. It's sad to see one of the greatest tag teams, the New Day, downgraded to NXT. So Cena, thank you, by the way, Cena, for dropping in the chat. For me, I think I don't see it as that. But you've had more of an instant reaction than I have. I'll let you take the floor.
No. When a talent back to NXT, it's for one of two reasons. It's to help the main roster pay more eyes to NXT and see who these guys are willing to go down and work with. Or in like the case of Mandy Rose and Apollo Crews, it's a chance to go down and reinvent yourself and get that it factor or try something out with your character and say, okay, if I bring it down here and this works, then I can bring this up to the main roster and it will work again in front of a bigger audience. The only time people are downgraded is if literally there's nothing they can do with them anymore on the main roster. And the only thing they can do with them is send them down to repackage them. That has not happened since Vince McMahon left. And as long as Triple H is in charge of creative, I don't think that's going to happen again. I think the New Day are down there because they miss seeing tag team wrestling at the forefront of pay-per-views in the main roster. So they're going down there to fire up these pay-per-views and these tag teams. So when they come up, we are ready for them and they're ready to light the ring on fire.
I mean, you said it 10 times better than I would have done. So, yeah, I'll take that all day long there. Bama, sitting it quite perfectly. CNation reckons this is a predictable show, kind of. I'd like to know what your predictions are throughout the stream, CNation. Let us know what you think of this match in particular as well that we're on now. And also, what do you think of the Diane getting pinned by Chase University last Tuesday? I mean, personally, what you said, Bama, it adds a bit of a wild card element to this match, and can Chase U remain on side to win the Tag Team Championship? So, kind of okay with it. I'm not too upset with it, even though I would have liked to see the Dyad involved.
Yeah, I think, and that's the other thing. If Chase U does win this, the Dyad better come calling immediately. And that's the initial tension of, can we be a team against these guys? Because they are absolutely a united team. So that's a great first tag team to test their cohesiveness against and see if there's a possible problem there. So
absolutely. There's no I in Chase U. Silk says, why won't someone put the tag titles in GYV again? Evening, gentlemen. Hope you're doing well. NXT, thank you for joining us, and hope you're looking forward to, I'm going to call it TakeOver. Why not? It's not TakeOver. It feels like it could just be a TakeOver. West Coast Podcast or in the house as well says, my main excitement is to see how this show looks and hopefully inspires them to reformat. The PC is getting stale and the same crowd each week is losing authenticity. I completely agree with you, although I still like how it looks visually on a week-to-week basis. Yep. I do think these special shows, though, like you said, they go to the extra level. It's just like what we got with takeovers previously. And yeah, for me, I feel like there could be a real buzz here with this going forward from NXT if this show is a success like we're hoping it will be.
No, I 100% agree. I think they definitely need to get some good momentum out of this, and I hope it gets some good traction. I hope it's trending. I hope a lot of eyes come over to it from people that don't normally watch NXT. Having people like the New Day on there, that gets you eyes because a lot of people love the New Day. So if they know the New Day's wrestling on this card, there's a good chance they'll go on their Peacock and they'll watch it on Saturday. I would love to see NXT get on the road more often. The only problem is, from a sheer perspective of partnership in Orlando, that's kind of difficult for them to do. Plus, these talent, if you're not fully camera ready, don't put them on camera every week. And I think that's the other good thing about the Performance Center is they try stuff out. This person needs to stay off TV for another week and let's work on something. And then we'll put them on again in 2 weeks and see how that goes. If you're on the road and the entire roster's on the road with you, that's expensive. And you're risking people in front of a bigger audience getting a lot more traction on Twitter for the wrong reasons. So I think they're just trying to be a little extra safe here. Personally, I know why they don't anymore because of all the red tape and everything. I really wish they were back in Full Sail. Personally.
Yeah, personally, I feel the same as well. If you had to pick one of the two, of course, but let's see where it's going to lead to. It's certainly exciting. I think you make some many great arguments there as well, Bama. The Rod break at NXT New Year's Eve was stupid. I think that's referring to Bron Breakker and Grayson Waller. We'll be discussing that in our main event segment of this podcast. We've got as well RIP to the legend Lanny Poffo, of course. Yeah, I mean, very sad day. The genius, of course. I was watching when I first started watching wrestling, so yeah, of course, bigger. RIP, thoughts with family, with friends, and to obviously supporters as well of Lanny. So and also got the New Day winning as well. Thank you, Jeff, for checking that stream as well. Seriously, as I can see, Dijak winning the North American Championship. We'll be talking about that in a couple of minutes' time. Just going to round up these final few comments before we do. We've got Schism and Judgment Day Bama. Would be down for that, would you?
Who's the heel?
Well, Rhea's on a tear at the minute. I think it's getting harder and harder to boo Rhea at this particular moment.
But it's so easy to boo Dominic. so yeah, I agree. I hope that this challenge of Charlotte, I hope it actually takes her away from Judgment Day and puts her on SmackDown because she's ready to be a babyface everybody loves. So
absolutely, although it may drag Dolin to SmackDown as well. I'll be talking more about that later this week. We got Alba Fine, Isla Dawn versus Gigi Dolin and Jacy Jayne would be very interesting. Would be a fascinating tag team match. I do like the idea there. We'll see if they remain together long enough, though. I've got the New Day retaining the tag team championships and Chase University taking the pins to C Nation and more of a mentor. Good point, Bama being said there as well. I think that's some great points from Bama already. Very good points being made here. I think Charlie Dempsey should have beat Drew Gulak this Tuesday. I would have said the same as well, but let's see what the story goes. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Richard's hoping that Edge and Beth Phoenix will be at Vengeance Day. I think more likely they'll be at Elimination Chamber. Regal should be the manager or rival to go against Dempsey. That could be interesting as well. Regal having someone that could go against Dempsey, another sort of technical-based wrestler, could be a fun storyline to play out as well. Yeah. Absolutely.
Maybe.
Absolutely. We're liking these ideas, guys. I think that Schism could be a part of the Wyatt stable. Interesting. Then 4 being the Roots, Bray being the One Tree. Maybe they were the ones at the Rumble. Interesting.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't dismiss it.
No, I'm not going to dismiss it. I'm just like, this Wyatt 6 thing is getting more and more convoluted. I feel like almost in some ways. I'll just be honest here, and I'm not gonna say anything beyond this. I'm already done with Bray. This run is not. It's underwhelming. It's not working for me. Even if they are building to this climatic OMG payoff, then by the time it finally gets here, am I even going to understand what it is or care about it? So I don't know.
I'm kind of with you. I mean, I'm all for long-term storytelling. My problem with it is the fact that there's long-term storytelling and then there's very, very slow storytelling.
Right.
I know the tortoise won the race. I know that, but the thing is, though, I'm struggling here with this tortoise currently. It's going a bit too slow for my liking. But like you say, I'm hoping there's a big wow factor, and I can connect the dots and feel wowed later on. But let's wait and see where it goes, I guess. Amen, Bama. It's definitely not a downgrade. Loving that. Any ideas of how to split the tag titles on the main roster?
You don't.
Bama's a big fan of the one tag team champions only, but I guess Sammy and KO will be one of them to drop them. That's gonna be my prediction at this point when it does come round to that.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna say long. The best wrestling companies in the best eras of wrestling had one man, one woman, one tag team, because then everybody knows who's at the top. If there's always 2, who's number 1? Well, let's see. On Raw, the champion is this, and on SmackDown, the champion is this, and every now and then they fight, but sometimes they don't. And right now, he's the better champion. Right now, stop that. Who's the champion? That's why simpler is better. Less is more. The more valuable they are, the more we want to see them. So I personally hope at the end of WrestleMania that within the next month we see beautiful, brand new championships all across the board. And I really hope and pray that that's what happens. And if a certain someone wins the undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion, we might see an eagle-looking championship back.
I know it makes me look old, but I don't care. I love that championship. It's my favorite. Good point, Bama and SCW. It's like what AEW are doing with Dark. They send people down there to get reinvented. I have a match. Brian Pillman Jr. is with Arn Anderson and Son now also. So, yeah, good points that have been made there.
And they're still on cable TV. They're not on YouTube. They're on cable television. So
amazing for that. There you go. What about these NXT and Anonymous? I hope I've said that right. Is someone to stalk Roxanne get revealed this Saturday? I'm not aware of that, unfortunately. I'm not paying enough attention. Clearly,
yeah. Smart me up to that. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not quite sure what that means either. We're going to read like a couple more comments because we need to get to like the other matches. We're 45 minutes in, 49 minutes in, and we've only done 2 matches in this stream. Two Sweet Carl says, I keep forgetting I'll be at Standard Leather. It's a 9:30 a.m. show LA time. It's going to be a weird one. It will be a weird one, but I hope you have an amazing time. Maybe it's coffee instead of beer. Or you're probably still having a beer to top up from the night before. We'll have to wait and see how it will go down. Last comment, then we'll quickly go back into the matches and we can come back into the chat as we go along. Honestly, I think when the New Day go back to the main roster, they need to go heel or have Big E turn on both. Well, first off, Big E needs to return first.
Yeah, he's got, I believe, last time I talked to the guys over at Young Kings Wrestling, because they're big fans of Big E, he has his next set of neck scans in March. Which will be 1 year to the date scans, and that will be the final, hopefully green light that you are good to go, you are healed. Otherwise, they may give him the Stone Cold treatment and say, "Here's what you can do, here's what you can't do," and so then we will see with that. But on Big E turning heel, please make one exception, WWE: never turn these boys heel. Never turn these boys heel. They work way too well together.
Yeah, I like them as their faces. I did enjoy the heel run back in, I think it was 2015 when it was there, but now they just sell too much merch. And when Big E does return, I mean the guy's going to be so over. I just can't see. Everyone will want the redemption story from me. They'll want him to go back and win that world title. Whether they'll do it, different question. But I think that's what people will want. But one thing that I hope people will want is to see the North American Championship match between Wes Lee and Dijak. Obviously, Dijak coming into NXT from the main roster. We speak about reinventing ourselves, by the way, and coming straight for Wes Lee. Also having a bit of a altercation with Tony D'Angelo at the time, but he's got himself into a championship opportunity, winning at New Year's Eve to face Wes Lee here. I'm going to be quick with this one. I think we're getting a new North American champion. I'm enjoying Wes Lee in NXT, but I'm not seeing much character development since he won the championship. And obviously he had a very strange 2022. He got the big moment winning the championship. I think he needs to go, it's almost like Hangman Page moment here. He almost needs to go back, reflect. It's almost that sort of way to build himself back up and win the championship again. But so for me, Dijak, I think that this is a good opportunity to build this new character up. I'm still trying to figure out what it's all about with him, but certainly it's the one title that's eluded him. I think he gets it this Saturday.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah, he's overdue for a singles title run, and I think this is a great way to try it out and see if the fans respond to him as a heel champion. I love Wes Lee. I wasn't in love, but I did not hate MSK. They weren't the Rascals. Let me be clear about that. They weren't the Rascals, but I did not hate MSK. So I'm interested to see what they want to do with him going forward. I'm afraid if they send him up to the main roster, he's never going to even get past the middle of the mid card. And so I'm anxious to see what they want to do with him going forward after this. But keep it short and sweet, Steve. I agree. Dijak's going to be our new North American champion.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling as well then. And just quickly, at the bottom, just in case any of the predictions did come in for this match, if Dijak wins, they'll be held to pay when he defends the title against Duke Hudson. That'd be a match I'd be quite interested in seeing. Certainly would not be against that. We will quickly move on then to our fourth match so we can get back to the chat and feel less pressure at this stage. Is the Women's Tag Team Championships. We've got Katana Chance and Kayden Carter against the other wildcard team of the night, Fallon Henley and Kiana James. Of course, there's a bit of storytelling to go here. Kiana, obviously, she's good with the numbers. We've seen it with the glasses. I mean, hello. Come on, look here. It's good with the numbers.
I got contacts in.
Also good with the numbers, just hides it very, very well. But at the same time, she tried to buy Farron Henley's bar. Of course, that's been with the family for a long, long time. This has been a bit of flirting going on with Brooks Jensen. It's created a small bit of friction with Brooks and Jensen with Fallon, but they've managed to keep it together now. For Brooks, they've made this tag team a one-time thing. Fallon and Kiana, they won their tag team match. Brooks couldn't help himself. He's gotten this tag team opportunity here at this show. And the question is, obviously, now we have the longest reigning women's tag team champions in NXT history in Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. And they've waited a long time to get those belts. They've done a great job with them. Is it where they'll retain? Or is this where we actually get wildcard new champions?
This one is maybe the hardest one to predict for me because the storyteller in me, kind of like what I was thinking about with Chase U, the storyteller with me would like to see new champions just to see with the Brooks and Jensen vibe with Kiana, can Fallon and Kiana maintain a championship? Maybe Brooks and Jensen are at ringside and something that they do is distracting for the champs and that allows Kiana or Fallon to get the win here. But personally, I think that the connection is going to be what costs them this match. I don't think that you want to drop the titles onto a tag team unless they are an established tag team that can hold them for a little while. And so I think that Fallon and Kiana will not get the win here. Actually, this will break down a little bit further into the problem issues between them. Kiana always has that little assistant running around too. Where's she been lately? So it's interesting to see what's going to be maybe happening with this match. But I'm predicting the champs are going to retain.
Do you know what? In a way, like I have a heart and head scenario with this one. My head tells me that the champs retain here because I think that the long-term champions for NXT will be Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, who we've already discussed.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. If you're going to drop the titles, that's the two to drop it on. Yes.
But when we talk about wildcard teams, we talked about Chase U, and I said how I thought the breakup could be with that one. I feel this one's just getting started. I feel like I'm just if I'm at the dinner table and I'm in a restaurant right now, I've just been served my first course of the three. We're yet to get to the main. We've not yet to get to the dessert. I think there's still a lot left in this with Fallon and Kiana. So I'm actually going to go and stick my neck out and say that they're not seen as the team that has a chance here in this match. I think they're going to shock everybody and win the titles.
I don't hate it. And I think that would be great storytelling because then it would build the drama of can these two stay on the same page? Is Kiana truly changing? Is she becoming a good person who truly cares about, Jensen? So it's interesting to see what they want to do there. And I'm going to put this little flyer out there because I really want to see this happen. Miss Queen Hardcore Country, my number 3 on my top 10 of all time. Mickie James, if you ever come back for a WWE run, pass your torch to Fallon Henley.
Oh, yes. I'm a big fan. I think she's fantastic.
I love her.
Waiting for this opportunity to see I keep wanting to say takeover moment. Certainly wanted to get one of these moments. She's got it here. Let's see how it's going to go. So just quickly going to go with a couple of the comments here that we've got, and then we'll go back up with what we got at the top here, the ones that we've missed, and then we'll go for our final 2 matches. The new Dijak character is too cheesy for me. Him as Dominik Dijakovic was so much better. I did prefer the old Dominik Dijakovic of the 2 right now, but I still feel it's still very new in this Dijak character. Hoping we're going to get given more as time goes on.
I would love to know then too, Sweet Kyle, if this guy's cheesy for you, then you must hate Tony D'Angelo. because good grief, a mafia boss inside of NXT, that how much more stereotypical can you get? So I mean, I think it's finding a niche, finding a character over time. If you make people believe after 6 months to a year, this is who you are. That's what you got to do. And if Dijak has always had this side of him, and this is finally the chance for him to let it out, then great. But personally, I think this is Dominik Dijakovic mixed with his Retribution character, and he's trying to find where the two blend and how he can make it work. I do miss Dominik Dijakovic, but again, he needs the right dance partner, and unfortunately, Keith Lee's at AEW.
There you go. There you go. I do miss them as dance partners. Goodness.
Yes, I do.
Great matches. Unpopular opinion from C Nation: the Winged Eagle title should not be returned. It should stay in the past. But he didn't start watching wrestling until 2014, so that might be a reason. You never know. It could grow on you if it does make a return. It's a beautiful championship. It would be the first time that Cody brought a old school replica championship back. He did it with the Intercontinental title back in, I believe it was 2011, could be 2012, and that was still around when you started watching in 2014.
I agree. And just to be clear, I don't want the actual belt to come back because personally, like I'm in the middle right now of the build between Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels to WrestleMania 14. And right after Stone Cold wins that belt, I believe it's within a few months, Big Eagle makes its debut. So I'm not personally fond of Winged Eagle. I get the nostalgia of it, and I love the era that it represents, but it's a small world title. To me, the world title needs to look impressive. Like when that guy walks in holding that belt, that's your world champion, which is why I love the big gold belt so much. So I hope Cody takes, if he wins, I hope Cody takes big gold for Dusty's first ever world champion and Big Eagle, the title he never won, blend them. That's the belt I want to see.
Interesting. Yeah, to have a brand new replica format of that championship could be quite fun to see. I mean, we could do with some new designs, to be fair, with some of these titles. So
anything's better than the big W.
Absolutely. So Terrell Key here, two YouTuber goats, thank you very much. Do you think we get surprised this Saturday? And did we hear we might get another women's show in WWE? Road Dogg said it in an interview. Could we source that interview?
Oh, you didn't know?
Yeah, source that for us. So interesting if there is. For me, I do think we have enough WWE TV. I just want to see more on the shows we have, but that's just me on that with that. But NXT is good with that. NXT has a lot of women's wrestling on it.
I agree. What was it, a month ago when that Battle Royal broke down and we saw the ring filled with 20 women? Yeah, WWE has a lot of diamonds down there. They just need to figure out where to put them.
Absolutely, indeed. There, Maxwell as well saying Grayson becomes new NXT champion night after NXT. Bron Breakker makes his main roster debut. We'll be discussing it in our main event of this show. So at the moment, Maxwell, have to just hold off on that for the second, but certainly a good prediction there for you. C Nation says, sorry to be off topic, but here's a fun fact. If Rhea Ripley wins the SmackDown Women's title, be the first person to be Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK, and Women's Tag Team Champion.
Wow.
There we go. The facts are in the house. And C Nation, for someone who started in 2014, he's got a lot of facts in there. And I tell you, good facts as well. That's a strong fact.
What are we going to call that? A straight champion? I'm trying to think of what a quintet champion. Grand Slam is 4 bases. So yeah, what are you going to call that? Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there something like with poker, like I don't know, like a straight?
Yeah, like I was saying, like royal flush, all of the same suit. Yeah. That's a great point. Great shout.
I lose money at poker, so it's probably not best for me to discuss it. But do we see Dragon Lee in the crowd? I'd like to hope so. To hope so. He's signed with there. John asking with what rope? C Nation did go on to say above the moment in NXT where their last championship match in New Year's Evil, the rope broke, and that's when Grayson went to the floor. He got counted out. That's what set up the stipulation for our main event, which will be the steel cage match. We'll be discussing very, very shortly. We've got teases someone will show up similar to LA Knight, return in the new year. Perhaps a Nick Aldis could confront Bron Breakker. I'd like to see the only thing that go against this is Nick Aldis has actually promoted he's going to be on the Jericho Cruise, I believe, around the same time. So I don't think he's going to be WWE bound anytime soon, but would have been nice otherwise.
Night after WrestleMania. That's when I'd debut him.
That's the one. That is the one. Agreeing with Bama about there being one set of tag team titles, but I think there should be still 2 world titles.
Then who's the real champion?
We need it. If only we had like a show in a year where they have champion versus champion. They didn't last year, mind you. It's now War Games. If there's 2 world titles, then it gives opportunities to more people. I totally get that. I mean, obviously, at the moment, I know C Nation hates it as well. Roman holds both of them and has for nearly a year. So it's not give those opportunities in the last 12 months, but I get where he's coming from. Perhaps your main top guy is the champion of one show. You get the opportunity for, say, like in the tens, you know, you always, that's where you're at Alberto Del Rio's, your Jack Swaggers, those people got a chance of becoming a world champion. They saw how it worked, and if it went well, they went over to the main event scene of Raw kind of back in the day. I think that's where C Nation's mindset might be going with it.
No, I see that, and I 100% understand that if you have 2 titles, then you have 2 title matches on pay-per-views. You get more chances for people to be in the title picture. But I'm going to quote Steve. You know him because you were on a show with him and me. I'm going to quote Mr. Tristan Law on this one. Not everybody needs to be champion.
There you go.
I think there's a lot of people when you hear the name Jack, when you hear Jake Hager or Jack Swagger, do you really think honestly about him being a world champion? Because I don't. When you think about Dolph Ziggler, oh yeah, that guy was a former world champion. Yeah, the only way I know that is because the announcers remind me. I associate him more with the Intercontinental Championship more than I do the World Championship. Same thing with the Miz. Miz is a 2-time WWE champion, but my gosh, he has defined the Intercontinental Championship in the WWE. So it's okay for people to not be in the world title picture if they're not going to truly represent the company and be able to do everything the company needs them to do. I would rather have one champion that can hold that title and defend that title and be the face of that company than a bunch of mid-carders pretending to be champion and then the belt gets taken off of them in a month because they can't be a champion.
Very good point you made indeed there. And obviously, to probably solidify that point, when I think of Jake Hager, he likes his hat.
I don't know why. It's giver, and I don't know why, but it's getting over.
It's getting very over.
Yes.
More over than I think it was meant to. What if
Yes.
Cora Jade turns babyface Vengeance Day to finally vanquish Isla Dawn at Stand and Deliver? Wouldn't be against the Cora Jade babyface turn, but I want to see her versus Roxanne, as we discussed earlier in quite a bit of depth. If you look at Uncle Howdy's swag, it's 100% Bo Dallas. Definitely agree, Maxwell, on that. Do you feel it's Bo?
I think it's pretty hard not to be, Bo. Again, this whole thing has been, well, it's not. Uncle Howdy's not a real person. He's just a guy up inside Bray's head. And when Bray took that Sister Abigail from Uncle Howdy, that was him wrestling with himself. I'm like, this is so beyond deep that it's hard to wrap your head around. Do I ever think that Uncle Howdy will rip the mask off and we'll see it's been Bo Dallas the whole time? Honestly, no. I think that Uncle Howdy will forever be Uncle Howdy. Maybe eventually he'll just disappear because Bray's finally either completely given in to him or conquered him. So whatever that means. But I would personally love to see Bo Dallas be Mr. B on NXT champion Bo Dallas again. But I just don't know if that fits the current landscape of the WWE. But that's just me.
We'll have to see how it's going to play out. Honestly, for me, the storyline, it's got so many different twists and directions. I'm not even sure where I'm going anymore. But certainly on the road to WrestleMania is certainly that way. But I'm not sure if it's in the fast lane, if I'm taking a detour with that one. But certainly we'll hopefully get more direction as we get closer to Mania. MJF saying in with Bama, one world title, one tag team, one women's. I always say the same thing. What's wrong with feuds within the divisions? When they go for the title, wins makes them more of the star. Absolutely, because it's all about the story. Not to keep going to the main roster, but Sami Zayn. We're not putting him into WrestleMania main event, but that story is the most thing that's over. It's getting Sami over. And I'm going to say very quickly, if you want Sami to be a world champion one day, after this story with Roman, don't give up on him. Just keep chanting his name. Make sure people know that you're still rooting for Sami Zayn. Because if they don't see him as that main event guy now, if you keep pushing it like that, maybe Money in the Bank rolls around, maybe next year's Royal Rumble, Sami could get there one day. But it's these stories that are making him into that position. And I must admit, I'm thinking of doing it, some sort of Sami Zayn related fantasy booking sort of video at some point. If you guys want it, let me know in the chat during this video. And if you do want it, if enough wants it, if there's two that want it, it's probably not worth it. If all of you want it, let me know and I'll make it.
Let me go and set it up for you. At every decade WrestleMania, a workhorse undercard guy has won the world title. Bret Hart, Chris Benoit, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn. WrestleMania 40?
It could happen.
Maybe.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be against it. Wouldn't be against it. Is it me or do you guys think that Gunther was showing up in AEW yesterday with that? It was Timothy Thatcher with the old Volta theme in the NXT UK Classic Musical Symphony. Did take me back to music. I didn't think Gunther was going to be there. I knew what the opponent was going to be, but at the same time, it was interesting with the music choice. Yeah. It was okay. It was just
who's Gunther facing at WrestleMania for the IC title?
Right. Okay. I'll give because I've got a prediction video coming out of this, but I'm going to.
Oh, okay, great. They don't. You
don't want me to? I can give one match away. I've got like 18 of them.
I was about to say, don't you want to tease that? That's a big match.
All right, then. I'll let you tease it. Who do you reckon it's going to be?
If Drew can't win the world title in front of the fans, maybe the IC title.
Interesting. I wouldn't be against that. A New Day have gone stale for me, to be honest, says MJF. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. The thing is, as a I can get it in certain ways. Like if it's certain parts of the show, depending on who they're against, I may not be as heavily invested either. But what I would say is that when it comes to the New Day, I do feel to myself that they do work as baby faces, and I'm not sure if I want to see them go down the hill. But they've got so much going in their favor. The merchandise, like I said, if Big E does come back, Xavier with the up, up, down, down, that stuff always needs to remain popular. And everyone still chants Kofi every time he's out there, even in the Royal Rumble. We've got these big Kofi chants. Yes, he blew the spot, but I mean, still, Kofi's over.
They are missing their third partner. The Big E not being there just brings their stock way down in terms of I want to see the New Day. And without all three of them on the screen together, there's just something missing about it. The only heel turn I will be okay with within this group is Xavier Woods.
Oh,
you talk about world champion, king of the ring that was not even given a chance to be the king. Woods is the underappreciated one. He should turn heel.
There you go. There you go. From Bama there. If one is to, Woods would be your guy. Sinisha says, I think that Wes Lee and Dijak is the most unpredictable match of the night. I can see either man winning. That's just my opinion. I like it. I like it. Wes Lee and Ricochet as a tag team would be cool. I would agree with that. I also like Nathan Frazier to be a tag team partner. I think he would be good.
Yeah, I remember when Ricochet and Cedric Alexander were a tag team. That was fun.
Absolutely. And going back to earlier on, to speak says, I do hate Tony.
There we go. There we go.
Gotta love it. Very good idea, Bama, as well, coming in there. Dijak Wins has come in there also. And well, hate is a strong word. I don't care for D'Angelo is probably the right wording that Kyle was going with there. Dijak, honestly, is bigger than the North American title, says MJF, if I'm honest. But he thinks that he beats Wes Lee. I see Dijak being NXT champion in 2023. I think that's a good
I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Yep.
Absolutely. I did like the Intercontinental Championship, so you do have a point. Oh, interesting. There we go. We have to wait and see. See, Nation, when it comes in, see if you like it. That's all I can say. But maybe what's a good old school match referencing the Eagle Championship? Obviously, Ric Flair with the Royal Rumble in '92 is a good fun one to go back.
Brett and Shawn WrestleMania 12.
Yeah, so there's some good stuff there with that Wing Championship if you want to go back for some retro stuff beforehand. And MJ says, I want to see Tony D have a segment with Little Guido.
Yeah, why not?
I'm feeling that.
Bring in all the full-blooded Italians. Bring them all in. Bring the FBI in. Bring them all in. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm down for that. Full House Champion could be the idea for the 5.
Maybe.
We're in for that. Certainly not all in because I'll probably lose my money. I can see Cody Rhodes winning the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at WrestleMania. Then on the next night of Raw, he reveals the Winged Eagle title. Easy for me to say, but I could potentially see it as well. Certainly is a possibility. And if the WWE Championship and Universal Championship truly get unified, then the Universal Championship would have had a short history because it started in 2016. Agreed. I always prefer the World Heavyweight title myself personally, but that's
Me too.
We can get Bama for Elimination Chamber prediction, please. You two have good chemistry. Thank you very much, Bama.
Appreciate
we'll try and work that in.
Yeah.
We'll see if it's a possibility.
Yeah, why not?
Work the schedules. I like the votes that come in there. Bama does have a point. Sami Zayn has no title, yet he's over.
Who are you calling Bummer? I'm talking to him.
I think that was a typo.
I think so too. I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding.
Hi there. Happy Groundhog Day, says Hassan Tay. Thank you for joining us. Triple Threat, Drew versus Gunter versus Sheamus. I'm not saying anything, but that might be one of the matches I had down there. What a thought. This was just premiere for a video. Laugh my ass off. I didn't know that you guys were live. What's going on? Thanks, KX, for joining us.
Good to see you, KX.
Most of these recently have been just the premiere videos, but I'm trying to get back into doing them as live streams as well. I'd like to do it for all the big shows, really, even Impact Wrestling as well. But again, I want the demand to be there for you guys to actually want that as well. So, yeah, if you're liking this, then make sure to hit the like button. Let me know you're enjoying it. Let me know there'll be more of these. Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. Austin Theory versus John Cena. 2 big mid-card title matches for WrestleMania. They certainly would be indeed.
I agree. The reason every time Sheamus and Drew do this to each other, there's a little bit of stop doing that. So I agree. I think that triple threat is a very, very good possibility. My only question with the other one, would you dare let this be Cena's last match?
No, I wouldn't. I don't think it's time. Give Theory the win, yes, but Cena, as long as Cena wants to go, this is not 2010 Steve talking here, but let him keep coming back. Put new stars over. Anyone that shares the ring with Cena, is going to get more over because they're going to be in front of more eyeballs. That's just how it is. Cena will bring people in, and that's just how things go. So yeah,
I agree.
Me, if he wants to bring Cena back, and yet Theory should get the win on this one. Like he lost to Pat McAfee last year, he should win this year. That's just my take on it.
Agreed.
We don't care about Von Wagner, but this is true from me anyway. But could we see him get repackaged and put in a mask?
What? Something. Him with Robert Stone is helping because Robert's just a great heat magnet. He's good at getting people to hate him and hate whoever he's with. Von Wagner, he's not terrible. He just needs something to latch onto. Like finally, Glenn Jacobs needed Kane. Finally, Mark Calloway needed Undertaker. Everybody just needs that thing of, this is it. I can make this work. John Cena needed hustle, loyalty, respect. Shawn Michaels needed the Heartbreak Kid. Triple H needed the game. You just need that one little thing of, I can make a whole career out of this. Von Wagner needs that thing. Hopefully Shawn and all the coaches backstage can help him find what that is.
You make a fantastic point there, because my saying was going to be, I think currently he needs a tag team partner.
That's not a bad idea.
Because he's good in ring. There's nothing wrong with his in-ring work. It's mainly when he talks is the problem. But if he gets that sort of bit of breakage at Tullidge, maybe he can have someone he can lean off with a bit more experience as well. Not saying that I think Dolph Ziggler should be his tag team partner, but that's an example of what you could do. Someone that's groomed as well. Or you actually have where you have someone that's new that comes in, ready-made tag team for the main roster. When you think he's ready for that next step, like you said, with the gimmick or whatever, that's when you push him sky to the moon. But at this particular moment, I have to wait and see what would go down. But yeah, we'll try and be a bit nicer to Von going forward. Xavier Woods does turn heel. There would be consequences.
Bravo, MJF. Bravo.
We like that. Gunther versus Brock. I certainly love the stare down at the Rumble. Definitely one.
We're going to get that. We're going to get that. I would love that at SummerSlam. Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. But I don't want this match. Gunther versus SCW. Jesus. If I want a red chest, I think I'll go and sit in the sun for a couple of hours. I don't need to go and get a match in the ring with Gunther. And it wouldn't, in the words, famous words of Paul Heyman, not a prediction, it's a spoiler. Gunther would win that match.
Yep.
Bama, my bad. It was a typo.
See, Nation, I'm just messing with you, man. It's fine.
We don't mind. Seth needs redesign, rebuild, reclaim. So let's get back in. We've caught up with the chat. We'd like to, ideally for Bama, I'd like to go for another 15 minutes tops here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into match 5 here. And we're going to go with the 2 out of 3 falls match between Apollo Crews and Carmelo Hayes. Both have one win over each other. And they said that the only way to decide this is to go for a 2 out of 3 falls match. You can beat me twice on the night, you are the better man. They've kind of reversed roles as well. I think we've had Carmelo trying to, be in where, Apollo goes and sits in this sort of cafe having those sort of dreams and thoughts. Apollo went to the barbershop. Must be for the beard. I can't see where else he would have been there. But at the same time, for me, this match, I think personally, it has potential to be match of the night for starters.
I agree.
I think it will open the show as well. If I'm honest, if you want to get that takeover feel, I think it's the right match to kick off the show. And I also feel this could be building for Stand and Deliver, which is why, am I allowed to give my prediction early doors?
If you want to, go ahead.
I think Carmelo Hayes is going to win here, and I think he's going to go to that next level. Bama, what's your thoughts with the match, the build? You can even give your prediction.
I could not agree with you more. The key person in this story is Trick Williams.
Oh, yes.
He is the key here. And I have been watching very closely to these conversations. Mr. Mello Don't Miss is getting a little annoyed at his big talker. And I think it's only a matter of time that he wants to win this straight up. And I think that at some point, maybe one of the falls is because his hype man helps him. There's only so much of that Mello's wants to take. I think Mello is ready to let the organic fans get behind him. I think it's time. This match thrusts him further into, it's time to see, can we truly get behind Mello as a full-on babyface? The way you do that is you reveal that Trick Williams has just been latched onto you, leeching onto your popularity this whole time, and we need to cut him out. And so I agree with you. I think Mello does get the win here, and I think this will be the beginning of the tension and the beginning of the end of Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, a.k.a. the end of Michaels and Big Daddy Cool Diesel.
I really hope not. I like Trick Williams with Carmelo Hayes because it's, I love the catchphrases. They just, they finish each other's sentences off as well. I'd hope that doesn't happen, but you know what? I can see what
You
you're
can't,
saying.
you can't be a babyface and have a heater, Steve. You know that. You can't be a babyface and have a heater. It doesn't work.
You're so true. You speak sense as always, Bama. A little too much sense, but hey, it is what it is. At the same time, I do hope that Carmelo Hayes is the one going for that championship when it comes to stand and deliver, because the guy
Agreed.
has been one of the best parts of NXT since it became 2.0, since the change back to NXT with the, should we say, the white and gold now that we've got going forward.
He is so good. He is so good. Yes.
He definitely will be, I think, should be the face of NXT for the next calendar year, but that's my personal opinion. Two Sweet Carl says that I need to get on a stream with you two one time. Let's make it happen. It feels like this chamber stream is starting to come together. NXT is still with us. We maybe can make it a quartet in there. And I think Jonesy wants to get back in as well. Maybe we'll make an elimination chamber match out of our stream.
I literally was just saying, whoever has the first bad take, you're out of the stream.
That could be the host.
No.
And that's an appropriate to come up with that point as well. But okay, says I feel this match is just to get is to keep Carmelo busy. Carmelo is going to face and beat Bron Breakker and stand and deliver. So I have Melo for this. We'll be talking about Bron versus Grayson very shortly. Rick saying Carmelo Hayes wins. I don't care why. SCW Alabama. I don't mind Hayes and Cruz as a tag team. I don't know why though. And I mean, to be fair, that could have been an interesting story going into this if they had more time, to see the dynamic as well, because it's the one-upsmanship. Who can be better, even in a team environment? Who gets the pinfall? Who doesn't? That could have been a fun bit of storytelling.
This is where I would do the full circle. I would have Apollo get up in Melo's face after it and go, "Look, you beat me, no excuses. But let's be real here. You didn't need him at ringside to beat me. You're better than that. That's all you need. You need to plant that little seed of this dude is a liability to you, and you would have already been NXT champion if you didn't have him."
This storytelling from you, Bam, is getting better by the minute. Maybe I can get on board with Trick. Trick, you might have to go to the side, my friend. Come on, Hayes beats Apollo, and Hayes gets called up. Want to know how I book Hayes? I do want to know how you book Hayes, MJF. Make sure to let us know in the stream. We'll get it up before we finish things off. I hope Trick and Mello don't break up. It would be a massive mistake. They can be tweeners or just keep them heel, says KXI. For me, I would go with that route at this particular moment as well, personally. But Bam, you are warming me up on it, so don't worry. I feel it would be similar if the Street Profits broke up. You're just doing Angelo dirty.
I'm dreading it, man. Montez Ford is a superstar. And I love Dawkins. And Dawkins is hilarious. He's gotten so much better too. But I'm just so afraid it's only a matter of time. Montez is going to be in a US and then a world title picture. And Dawkins is unfortunately going to be Tucker. And I don't want that. Don't. Let the Street Profits run as long as you can. Why can't Montez win a title within the Street Profits and Dawkins be supportive? Why can't they? I just don't want to see these guys break up. I love the Street Profits.
I love the Street Profits as well, but I do think there is a potential future for it. And I think they've started that tease this week on Raw there. We'll see. They've both got singles matches going into the chamber. Speaking of the chamber, a chamber prediction show, every 5 minutes, a new person enters the stream. Love it.
Ooh, I like that.
We'll just have to, the people that are coming in later, we have to just get their predictions for matches earlier in the stream quicker. That would be the way we could do it. But that could be a very good way to do that. I like that. We're going to keep that in mind there. See how many people I can have on the stream at one time. That could make it fascinating. Carmelo Hayes should stay as a heel because Bron Breakker and Carmelo Hayes will be babyface versus babyface. Babyface versus heel is better. Maybe a slow transition into that role.
That's it. Bron Breakker retains.
Oh, well, maybe it could be a spoiler where we're going with. Let's do 2 more comments and then we can quickly get in there. Hayes in the Hurt Business, perhaps with the likes of Lashley, Cedric, Shelton, almost Carmelo Hayes managed by MVP. Could be a possibility. Hayes with MVP. Hayes MVP seems to be quite popular and business is booming.
He don't need him. Carmelo's just fine. He don't need MVP.
I mean, for me, I think MVP would definitely have him. But
oh yeah.
But I kind of agree with you. I think Carmelo's good on his own, but yeah, we'll see how we go. Do you know, I think that could be a transition, though. I think a few points all jumbled together there.
Yeah.
We have to see.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that want to see John Cena versus Austin Theory for the United States title, but what if we got Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship? Well, I think we're getting the match either way.
Right.
I'm giving away some of my card here now. Yeah, I think that is a match we're going to get. I don't think it'll be the United States Championship, but yeah, I mean, the fashion sense of both of them coming to the ring, that's going to be one, definitely one for the eyeballs. I'll probably have to keep awake during that at the late hours, I reckon.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to let John Cena revive the United States Championship Challenge again at this stage in his career. So I don't think that's going to happen. I agree with you, Steve. I would not be shocked though if maybe Austin Theory, if he defends that United States Championship at the Elimination Chamber, we might see the reason he loses is because he just couldn't see who prevented him from winning. So.
Interesting. I like that. I like what you did there. I think Carmelo's turns on Trick Williams and lines with Grayson Waller. Nice stuff indeed there. Jacob, I'm going to get to your comments in a couple of seconds' time. And because you mentioned Grayson Waller, and like I said, Bama, I'm devoted to the time here. So
that's okay. We're doing great.
We're doing great. Well, I want to make sure that we get our main event in because obviously it is the biggest match of the show, the steel cage match between Bron Breakker and Grayson Waller. Of course, the steel cage element come in because Grayson Waller winning the Iron Survivor Challenge at Deadline, got his championship match then when it came to the New Year's Evil show. There's so many shows these days. And of course, that's when the rope break happened during the match. And of course, Grayson Waller fell out of the ring, didn't get back in for the 10 count. So the only way to confine these guys is in a steel cage. But before we get to that, I just want to quickly, because Bama, you're a WCW guy. You know immediately when I'm going to go with this. Grayson Waller bringing back a vintage 90s idea. Bron Breakker doing the Goldberg, doing the spear. But of course, Grayson Waller was full on Bret the Hitman Hart and had the protection, which kept Bron Breakker down. And Grayson Waller got up. What did you took the answer out of my mouth there, but loved that comparison there from the 90s.
Yes, absolutely loved it. And the only thing I'm going to say before we get into the depths of this match is I truly hope Grayson Waller doesn't pull a damage control. I want to see this cage match.
Yeah, I definitely know how to take away the takeover vibes immediately by not getting a steel cage match. But a cage match on Saturday and one on Monday. Will it happen? Will it happen?
Which one will be better?
Oh, don't put me on the spot.
You know the answer, Steve. Just say it. You know the answer.
I feel they must have the big spots put for this match here between these two, but of course I'm going to go with Becky and Bayley. But I do think here, well, these guys got cage experience as well. They were a team in War Games, of course, a couple of years ago for the old guard versus new guard of NXT. Grayson Waller jumping off the cage, of course, in a big moment through the table spot was amazing. Grayson Waller does big spots on these shows. Yes. I think he's going to do that again here. We mentioned at the start of the stream about Grayson Waller, so let's talk about him in great depth here. Just also great depth, but in some depth here. Do you think Grayson Waller has the potential to be NXT champion? And what do you think of the character, the persona? Because obviously, for me, he's very annoying, but he does it in a good way. I think he can get, dare I say it, the Logan Paul styles of heat from people. I think when he gets to the main roster, because he certainly knows how to rub people the wrong way.
He is the MJF of NXT. And they have to be very careful if they want to do this, because otherwise there will be an organic thing, just like with The Rock. He's cool. And that's the one thing you got to be careful. He needs to continue to cheap shot. He needs to continue to make things personal. He needs to continue to do underhanded tactics. He's got to do whatever he can to remind the fans, please don't cheer for me. So just whatever that means for this match. But yes, Grayson Waller absolutely can be what MJF is to AEW. He can be that underhanded, make people jump through hoops to finally get a match with him type NXT champion.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's definitely the right way to go about it with booking him, certainly. I think Grayson Waller has the potential to be a top guy in NXT. You said about people not always needing the championship. I'm wondering if he could form that category in NXT, because I think when he gets to a Raw and SmackDown, I can see this guy excelling further than a lot of people in NXT. He has got an it factor. He stands out. He's different. I'm not sure about his finisher, where he runs on the outside, jumps through the ropes to hit the sort of diamond cutter stunner type move. I would change that up, but that's the only thing I would change at this particular moment with Grayson Waller personally.
I will say this: that finisher as a babyface is fire.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But as a heel, the fact that I like it is not a good thing. The fact that I want to see him do it is not a good thing if you're a heel. So. Yeah,
I think he needs a diamond ring, doesn't he? That's what he needs. But at the same time, but Bron Breakker. Okay, let's go on to Bron Breakker. He's been like the poster boy since NXT 2.0 started. He's still been he was NXT champion since the Raw after Mania. He's been a champion for a very, very long time now. Yes. I think a lot of people are assuming that the main roster is in his future. I mean, first off, I think he is another one of those people that I think will excel on a Raw SmackDown. Obviously, the Steiner brother lineage of being Rick Steiner's son. He's got the cool outfits that he always wears, a lot of replicas of what Steiner brothers wore. He is good in ring. I think he's booked more like a Goldberg than he is booked like a Steiner. So I think they should actually use that market of how that Goldberg was a success back in the day, rather than actually making Breaker do all these stupidly long matches all the time. But at the same time, I do think that his time is coming. Is his time, though, to drop the championship now, or is it a stand and deliver?
This is the hardest one for me to call. The storyteller in me wants Grayson Waller, because then you can keep Bron off TV for 2 months. And then when WrestleMania comes in, you can call him up at the show and let him make an impact on WrestleMania, or you can bring him up at the Monday Night Raw right after, or the Friday Night SmackDown right after, whatever show you want him to be on. Steve, my only Bron Breakker is on the main roster. You have Sheamus, you have Drew McIntyre, you have Karrion Kross, you have a lot of big guys up there. Unless you book him very directly, this is who this guy is, he could quickly get lost in the shuffle. And unless you have a mid-card lined up waiting for him to get him over to show how good he is on the mic and in the ring, he could become literally another Drew McIntyre. And you don't want that. You don't want him to have to leave to go prove that he should have been there the whole time. So it's very interesting if Sean feels this guy's ready. And if he does come up, you better rename him Brock Steiner. You better give him that name. And I want to see Rick and I want to see Scott. And I want that endorsement, because then the entire casual WWE universe will know exactly who Bron Breakker is. And that's a great way to hit the rocket to him and push him forward. This is the best of Rick and the best of Scott embodied in one guy. Watch what this guy can do. But I don't know if they're going to do that. So my heart wants Grayson Waller. I'm just afraid that they think it's not Grayson, it's Carmelo. I think Bron might retain here.
You've made some fascinating arguments. I love the argument of Bron Breakker being called up to on SmackDown, and this is how you make him stand out. I think that's a fascinating way to do it. I think it's the right way to do it as well. I will agree with you. I think Bron Breakker himself has done well. I think a Rumble appearance would have helped, though, with the Bron Breakker name if you wanted to establish it that way. But for me, like you said, I think Raw is the place for him right now if you're going to put in one of the two shows. Him versus Austin Theory, for example, would be a fascinating feud over the United States Championship if they were to go down that sort of direction. But going into the match itself here, then, I think they're going to try and do some interesting spot. I think if Grayson Waller was to win, this is if he was to win, this may give my prediction away here, but I think it would be similar to the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1999, where Grayson would be thrown into the cage and the cage breaks and he lands on the floor. That's how I think Grayson Waller would win the steel cage match. But I've got Bron Breakker winning, because I agree. I think that Bron Breakker, Carmelo Hayes, is going to be the main event of Stand and Deliver, just like KX I said earlier. And I think that's where we are going to finally crown a new NXT champion in Carmelo Hayes. It's a shame that the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is not on WrestleMania anymore, because Bron Breakker would have been great for that to go and win it, to have the instant impact on the main roster. Yeah.
So is it official they're not doing it because what's his name won it last year? The guy that was with Happy Corbin all that time?
It's just the last 2 years it's been on WrestleMania SmackDown. It's not official that it's not on WrestleMania, but it's not been on WrestleMania of late, and I just assumed that me assuming here, but I'm assuming it will be on WrestleMania SmackDown again.
Okay.
But if that's the case, then if it was put on WrestleMania, Bron Breakker for me would be a great candidate to come in and make the instant impact like they tried to do with Corbin all them years ago.
Right.
But so that's what we think anyway there. Have you got anything you'd like to add before we go to the chat?
No, I that's the thing. If you want him up right after WrestleMania, you let Grayson win now. And that way you can give him 2 months off to heal, get his mind clear, and get with Triple H and the guys on the main roster. Let's work out a story. Here's how you're going to debut. Here's what we're going to do with you. Because otherwise, I don't personally want to see Bron Breakker lose the title on Saturday morning and immediately see him on Monday. Because if I'm a champion and I'm a fighting champion and I held the title all that long, I still want to get back in Grayson's face real quick. Absolutely. So to me, that doesn't logically make sense. If you're gonna put the title, if you're gonna get Bron Breakker up right after WrestleMania, then Grayson retains. If not, then I guess Bron, we won't see him up there till around SummerSlam.
Could be interesting. I'm fascinated to see how they're going to do this, because obviously call-outs I think will happen this year after WrestleMania. And obviously we are probably arguing talking about the three most ready right now in NXT, and Grayson Waller Carmelo Hayes and Bron Breakker. Of course, Apollo Crews has been there and done it. I think he will do more in NXT. I think he could be an NXT champion later this year. That's the story he wants to tell. So I think he'll be falling out of the way here. Perhaps even the triple threat of WrestleMania could be interesting as well to see. But let's see how it'll go down. Too Sweet Carl says, you're telling me you don't want to go 2 hours and 15 minutes like last time. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying that I'm worried about time for Bama. I don't want Bama to need to leave.
I worry about time for you, Mr. Daddy, as well. I mean, come on.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We're trying. We have done the matches, so we're going to go through the chat and we'll see where it takes us. But Bama, are you good to go for at least another 10 minutes or so?
I think I can give you, around 10.
Around 10. So there we go. 10 minutes is what we got for you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go through them as quick as we can to try and get everybody in. So how did we feel last night about Joe winning and Wardlow's new haircut?
I knew I should have watched AEW before coming on this stream. I have not seen Dynamite yet. I plan to watch it today.
I'm so sorry for the spoiler.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
So yeah, all I can tell you is even if you know the result, because I knew the result before watching it, one of the top 5 matches I can remember in AEW history.
Okay, can't wait to watch it.
I think it's great. If I see anything AEW related now, I will skim past it as well. He's building his own faction with Bama.
Don't worry about it.
It's good with Worlds Collide. Yeah, we can have our own Worlds Collide, can't we?
We definitely could.
I think that would work. Too Sweet Carl says Fury versus Gargano seems like a winner if Cena isn't showing up. I'd love that match as well.
I like that.
Do it. I reckon they should do it. Absolutely. And we've had that one there. So sorry, I'm going back now through. Carmelo Hayes. Oh, can't even read now. Carmelo Hayes wins. Watch Trick though. That's
you go.
The key. That is the key. Silk says Cena beats Fury night 1. Cena does an open challenge night 2. Debut Jay White and he wins the US title at Mania. Sean Westap would love this. Yeah, I mean, what's the chances?
My dream match for WrestleMania this year. It ain't gonna happen because he's hurt. Maybe WrestleMania 40. Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Jay White.
Chef's kiss.
For once and for all, who is the best leader of the Bullet Club? And it's Jay White.
Oh, there we go.
Switchblade, baby.
I've not watched enough New Japan to comment, unfortunately, on that. But all I can say is that all 3 have definitely had their prime in there. And if the match was to happen at WrestleMania, damn, I'd be down for it.
Woo, what a match.
Absolutely. Kate says, feel like Bron has to win. We've seen Melo versus Waller before. It's true, actually. Very good point made there. Bron versus Melo seems like a season finale for NXT. Makes sense for Bron to retain. Great points there, Kate.
Great point.
Do see what you're saying there. Melo jumps into the cage, helps Waller climb to victory. There we go. It's a fun one there from Richard. Could build to a triple threat anyway. Melo versus Breakker Stand and Deliver. Breakker retains. Interesting. I'm assuming that it's Breakker retains here rather than at Stand and Deliver, but could be there as well.
Yeah. I would say if he retains. Yeah.
Retains at Vengeance Day, that is. There we go.
Yes, there we go.
Terrell says Apollo Crews wins by Trick heel turn. Ala Steve turn on Booker T, and Trick has a new monster by his side, and Crews' old friend Dabakato. It's fun to bring Dabakato. Well, he's not doing anything.
He's not doing anything.
He's still on the main roster page.
Where is Shanky, by the way? Why didn't Jinder Mahal bring Shanky down with him? Where's he been?
I miss the dancing.
I do too.
I know we're going to get hate for that. Jacob says, don't make me cry, Bama. Bama love how Grayson Wicks with MJF and The Rock. Little Randy, also with the mind games. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Grayson has got a lot going for him in NXT. Yep. We've got MJF saying that Waller wins the title. Not after WrestleMania, Bron Breakker makes his main roster debut and accepts Austin Fury's US Open Challenge. And
there you go.
Former
there you go.
Champions.
Love it. Love that. Yes, love that.
Signed, sealed, and delivered. Pair Grayson Waller with The Miz as well as another suggestion that could be there for you as well. Certainly got a lot of similarities when it comes to the mic game. Grayson wins. HBK's music hits. One more match. Grayson called him a fool. Old man have it. Booker T helps HBK. And then we get Booker T versus Grayson Waller at the next pay-per-view. Would love to see it, but poor Booker, he just about got to the ring at the Royal Rumble. That was a very long entrance way for him.
Yep, I agree.
Very long. Very long.
Yeah, Sean has gone on record to say his last match with Taker should have been his last match. So he's 54 now. Yeah, HBK, you've done your last moment. Keep booking NXT, brother.
Absolutely. Here's Thunder Brothers are signed for a Legends deal. I was not aware of that, but it makes sense as they're in the Hall of Fame now. And they did table for free as well, didn't they? I can see Apollo Crews taking the NXT Championship off Carmelo Hayes. C Nation, I do agree. I think that's the perfect cycle. Then Grayson Waller, if he's still there, can take it off of Apollo Crews.
There you go.
And then if we've got Dijak still there, he could be waiting in the wings. What was the point of Darby Allin winning the AEW TNT Championship? We had some great matches after the last little bit, and I mean, there's nothing really gives anything away there actually. But I'm now just going speculating, Bama. I think that the Sting match will happen at some point this year. That's all I'm going to say.
Darby will turn on Sting in 2023.
Absolutely. Don't have you, but I want to see Evolution 2.0 stable. Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, Austin Theory, and Bron Breakker certainly would be a decent looking stable. That I'd be quite down for that stable.
SCW.
The only problem is though.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say the only problem is though, Randy's the first name there, which implies
he's the Ric Flair.
Well, yeah, he could be the Ric Flair of the group, absolutely, because Cody is about to
the Triple H
guy. Yeah. Absolutely. Would that be like a renewed legacy for you almost?
If with the 4, I could see it definitely being like Evolution again. And that would be a great 2. Bron Breakker being the Batista of the group and Austin Theory being the Randy Orton of the group. I could definitely see that. My biggest fear, unfortunately, because they did not know how serious it was until they actually went in for surgery. The rumors are that Randy's done, and I really hope that's not true.
I really hope it's not true as well. Randy has given so much to the business, and I would like to see him back one day. But if not, the other 3 certainly would make something as well there. Asuka winning the Women's Elimination Chamber match. C-Nation, you know better. We're not giving those predictions away yet today. We're going to hold it for our chamber match. Tama Tonga debut at Mania and attack the OC. Chef's Kiss. There you go, just for you
there. We go.
We can pair Grayson and John. That would be a weird pairing. Especially if Dexter Lumis is still around. I think Richard might be troubling us again. Shawn Michaels' last match should have begun against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 26. Obama did agree with that earlier, and I do as well. TNT Championship seems to be a hot potato, mostly. Besides Mr. Broly, Miro, and Wardlow have been 2-time AEW TNT champions. Absolutely. And last comment, then we'll wrap things up then. How about this if Cody wins and he plays the Castle music and it's Nick Aldis to end off Mania? Don't see it ending off Mania, sadly. I think more likely you'd be the night after if that's the case.
Now, Nick Aldis versus Cody Rhodes for the title at SummerSlam? Yes.
Can we get a yes, please? And of course, I'm just playing with you. Absolutely. You can give your prediction early. We just shouldn't give ours just yet. That's all I'm saying. But certainly want to say a big thank you to everyone that's been watching this video here today. Thanks to everyone that's been involved in the chat as well. You've been keeping us very, very busy. I said to Ben before we started, I don't think this will be a long one. It's the NXT show. You've kept us going very, very long. And I think Too Sweet Kyle is used to hearing that sentence as well. Okay, so it's a fun stream as well. Thank you very much there. And Jeremy as well with a lull as well there. I want to say as well, big thank you to Bama, Chatter, Dave. I want to say incredible intake as always. It's always amazing to talk pro wrestling with you. Just
thank you, Steve. Same thing. Yeah, right back at you. This is one of the best minds at pro wrestling, everybody. So every time you post anything, go watch it, like it, comment, retweet it. He deserves it. Thank you very much. And I have to say the same to you as well. The link of your channel is in the description of this video. So currently 13 people still watching. I want to see 13 more subscribers, please, to Bama Chatter Wrestling Podcast. That would be awesome. He does amazing stuff over there. Really creative shows as well. They're really outside the box ideas. And honestly, they are very fun to be a part of as well. I was featured on the This or That episode, which is the first video that was posted on that channel if you want to go and check that out. Some point this evening. But that's all from us away. Thank you all for watching. Look after yourselves. I will be back later this week. Going to be doing WrestleMania predictions. The match card will be coming out for you, hoping 24 hours, but yeah, could be 1 or 2 days. And I've got hopefully a couple of fun videos idea for the weekend. Jonesy wants to do a watch along with myself and NXT if we can fit it in. It will be Damian Priest versus The Miz from WrestleMania Backlash a couple of years ago. The zombie match. Yeah. So, good match. Yeah. So we're going to have a lot of fun talking about that. So make sure the zombie match? No. Yeah. No. That's I hate the match, but I think this could be the fun of the watch along. For a watch along, yes. Yeah. So come and join us, watch it with us, and have a chat along with us if we can manage to put that together. But look after yourselves and each other. Thank you all for watching and enjoy NXT Vengeance Day. Take care.